We do not go anywhere near the surface. Got it?
Everything good is above the surface. Walking, air, the sky, clouds, the sun. Whoa, don't look at it. Just kidding. Definitely look at it.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Hello, hello, all you gigalos. Welcome to Garbage In, Garbage Out. I'm your host, Kelton, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Grift. How's it going, buddy?
Good. Enjoying White Boy Summer. A little too much as I was late to the show. But thank you for being understanding of a fellow professional and, letting me live my life. There's a lot of grass to touch out there.
It's an important thing too, because it's not like, you were running late and it's Father's Day and I could have been spending those precious moments with my child before recording. So, I'm just glad that everything worked out in the end. But this week we are joined by Kelgore from Troutcast. I guess is like the best way to do a plug.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, I mean, I'm going to talk about your podcast, but you also are on YouTube and you work on a variety of other projects. How's it going?
Yeah, I'll do anything. I've been making episodes of the Troutcast. It's been really fun. YouTube's cool, like making videos. I'm kind of trying to figure out exactly my niche.
Okay.
So I'm just kind of trying a little bit of everything. Seems like it's going over pretty well.
I keep advising everyone to just start uploading their podcast episodes onto FrostWire and then just saying like new J. Cole album as the title and then just seeing like what pops up.
You gotta include the dot like EXX or whatever like sketchy file name that goes with the LimeWire download. Kelgore, I remember I really enjoyed that fantasy series that you produced for that podcast.
Thank you. That was like the first thing I ever did.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'm just sort of like walking through how you ended up a guest on here, and then just honestly, just like general like Twitter riffing.
Yeah, it's good times. I think Twitter's cool because it's like you find friends based on interests and values rather than just like convenience. So it's kind of nice. You find some cool people on there. Or not.
I was about to say, I'm glad that's been your experience, but have you ever decided to maybe slander the New York Knicks at 3 a.m., turn your phone off, and then see what the results were the following morning? Because it's not pretty. It's not good.
Yeah. I've made a couple of those kind of tweets too. The mute feature really helps there.
It definitely is,
I'll never get involved in sports Twitter beef. Like the only sports like rivalry teams I actually care about is like I was born like a Red Sox fan and grew up that. So like imagine if I was just doing like going after like Yankees fan Twitter. Like I'm just not going to do that. I'm not strong enough. I am not ready for that, and I don't know if I ever will.
You start with the Orioles, okay? You start small, and then you start punching around and then working your way into that Yankees Twitter rotation.
I gotta make an MLB power ranking and work my way through the different fan bases.
I definitely don't tweet about sports. That's true. In fact, though sometimes those are accounts that get muted.
Oh my God! Yeah, I would
like just during sports season. I'll unmute them later if I remember. I don't know how long could sports possibly last. Like 2 months.
Yeah, that's it. Just they thankfully compressed it all down to just 2 months, all sports.
And then the rest of the year, there's no sports.
Yes, and
I really loved my two favorite things from COVID were that there weren't really sports, and then also they didn't do the Blue Angels in San Francisco. Fucking hate that shit.
I can agree with you on one. The Blue Angels,
okay.
Yeah, sure, yeah, fuck that whole thing. But
it's so loud.
Yeah,
it scares me so much.
I feel like I did like a real monkey's paw wish because I, as some people know, I live in Houston. And Houston sports is very, very bad. So the fact that I was like, come on, I hope sports will be back. And then every Houston team has just sucked completely feels like a real kind of you careful what you wish for type situation. It's not good.
I'm like I'm like the worst bartender because in San Francisco, I hate sports. And so I'm just like, no, I'm watching Tombstone. Like,
Well, it's because you watch movies though that's why you're on. This is not a sports podcast. I won't venture into anything about what the standings are with the Red Sox versus the Astros, but that may eventually break up the podcast if we meet in the MLB playoffs. Grift. When you win, because that will break me specifically. This week though we are talking about the newest Pixar film, Luca. It appeared on Disney Plus, and I would say that this is definitely a Pixar film. It's definitely animated, and it definitely is for kids. So
it was a movie too.
Yes, that happened. I really wish because I thought of the pun, but then I saw someone else use it when people were like, "I'm having a Luca warm reaction to this." Like, yeah.
That's pretty good.
It is Father's Day weekend, so we'll give them that one. Yeah. When you say this is just a movie, I don't know what sort of like anti-Italian messages we're sending our kids with these films, because the stereotypes were about as heavy-handed as you get, and like it's Juneteenth weekend. It's a federal holiday now, and we're talking about an ethno like national race that used to be considered Black in this country. So I think this, honestly, Pixar dropping this film on a streaming service like this particular weekend, it's an act of specific disrespect to the really all Italians around the world. First of all, the Italian American community, our heart is with you in this moment.
This movie sets up a reality in which all Italians do is eat pasta, wear short, ride Vespa, and lie, I believe, is the four quadrants that get set up.
Yeah, hunt sea monster.
Yeah. Do a pogrom against a invisible group within your small town. Your small, relatively pre-industrial medieval town.
I thought it was funny because it was like they were trying to make the least problematic movie of all time, and somehow they landed on Italians. They said, we can say anything about Italians.
It was their time. I was also
thinking about doing an Italian accent for this entire podcast, but I kind of forgot.
It's Super Baba, it's Super Mario Brothers. I love a Luca.
It's extremely inoffensive.
Silencio Bruno.
Yeah. I know. Also, there's like, I was like thinking maybe they could do like a crossover with Star Wars, and it's like Luca Skywalker.
Oh my God, no. Oh, they're
like in Space Mafia.
Italian Star Wars would be something I think that people would like. They're already
space meatballs.
That's just queer baiting, though.
The riffs are flying
real,
thick
though,
and
I
fast.
actually did kind of like this movie.
Of course.
But you have to understand that I mostly say that like as a mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you get to like pull that card out like, a little bit, right?
Like if there are any children listening to this podcast, I would recommend it for you. If you're a parent, I would also say it's pretty good. It's not like when your kid puts on like the Barbie movies and you're like, I cannot be in the room with you while this is on.
Yeah,
I think it's fine.
For all those babysitters out there rising and grinding, and grifting, hustling out there, trying to find a relatively innocuous piece of media to put on for the charges under their care in some like upper middle class neighborhood where they're getting paid like $40 a night so they can like afford to do anything. This serves that purpose of relatively pacifying their charges, and then it slips in its little racial ideology.
Just a hint of it.
Yeah. But also, I think that they knew that like the girl boss demographic wasn't going to pay $30 to stream this, so that they just made it go like straight to free streaming.
Well, it's because they think Italians are poor. That's why they don't have $30. They've spent it all on pasta and wine. You see, just as a people.
I might just be another white girl, but this made me want to go to Italy really bad. I also, the next day, I looked up the pasta that they made. And there was already a fucking, like, PR plugged fucking BuzzFeed article.
Of course.
With these animated recipes from the movie, and it was like this whole thing. And I was like, okay, now I hate it. I don't want this pasta.
Yeah. That was basically my reaction to this movie too, of like, it's relatively inoffensive. Sorry, Grift. Italian feelings don't matter in my world. But
no, they do not. Italians are white. If you're a white rapper, you can say my WAP, and it's not a problem.
Well, that was a Cardi B song, right? It was WAP, 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 WAP.
The funniest thing about Italians being kind of, oppressed once upon a time in America was that they were Catholic. It wasn't that they were Italian.
Yeah,
it was because they weren't Protestants.
It's a small fact that we're not going to mention too often here, because come on. That's way less fun.
JFK was trying to normalize it and got his head blown off for it.
Yeah, even Reagan hid the fact that he was like fucking low-key Catholic.
Yeah, why do you think he got shot?
Yeah, that's right. Wait, that's not why he got shot?
No, wasn't the guy trying to impress? What wasn't the CIA asset trying to? His cover story was that he was trying to impress a celebrity. How realistic is that?
No, it was Jodie Foster, right?
Wasn't it was, but
okay.
Yeah. Let's be real.
I was gonna be like, he wanted to have sex with 14-year-old Jodie Foster. Yep, that's a weird.
If I was Jodie Foster, it would have worked.
Oh, really? Okay. All right. So, how many love letters to Charles Manson have you written over the years? Let's see.
None, because he didn't do anything to Reagan. I'm saying, if Kelgore from 2021 was 1981 Jodie Foster, it would have worked.
Okay, all right.
You would have been a sufficient muse to have the assassination attempt go all the way.
This is some real dangerous territory to be like, good for you, question mark.
I'm not sure what I had just agreed to, but
yeah,
it's
exactly.
Anyways,
we stand a problematic king.
Yeah, the movie Luca. We love to talk about the movie Luca on this podcast.
It just is one of those, again, I wish for anyone who hasn't seen this movie and is wondering, like, well, why aren't y'all wanting to dive into the actual film itself immediately? Like, go watch the movie and then you'll find out why. Like, we're going to talk about all the nebulous stuff around it, because at least in my head, it's way more interesting. Like, were y'all familiar with the director at all? Had y'all looked up what he had done before this?
No,
I'm a blank slate, bro. Hit me.
Okay. Well, I mean, this guy has been a lifer in the animation industry since like 1996, when he was like a background artist, doing like the drawn by hand background scenes for cartoons, and then went to Blue Sky, and then he worked on Ice Age and was with them until 2007, and then switched over to Disney, and I think with Ratatouille was his first Disney project with them. Rose through the ranks, was able to direct a short film called La Luna in 2011, and then became a member of Pixar's senior creative team in 2017 with Coco, which was, the other, we're going to run an entire ethnic group through a Disney-Pixar generator and then see like what movie musical we can get out of it.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed about Pixar being on direct to streaming was there was no short at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I remember growing up, part of what made Pixar feel different in your sort of like internal media branding mind eye was that it didn't come with an original short and really clever, really well done thing out, short piece out the gate that because no other movies you were going to see as a kid were doing something on that sort of ambitious scale in terms of like media sequencing of its release. That makes sense?
Yeah.
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 I,
And I gotta say, that little lamp guy that jumps up and down on the Pixar logo, that's like the biggest hit with kids. They don't give a fuck about like the Disney castle or whatever. The fucking lamp is the man. Like, they love it.
nice to know that it's a classic, something, you know.
Yeah, and I think that the shorts are too. I mean, I remember that, you know. In fact, the one that played before Raya in theaters, my kids recognized the short on Disney Plus because you can like watch it by itself.
Oh.
And they were like, so like it must stick with them.
Well, I'm glad that
I
their
think you're right.
little lizard brains are able to, you know,
Yeah,
function.
exactly.
All the fireworks go off. Being like,
They're paying attention.
Yeah.
I've already
What's
seen
Hasn't-
this. This
hasn't-
is old. Get rid of it.
Hasn't Pixar had some sort of labor dispute with Disney?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
In terms of like Kelton, this is very much your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is where I can like feign some
it
ignorance and, you know, not just seem like I
Yeah.
insanely follow this
No, tell me more.
as a blood sport. Yeah.
Yeah.
So as we all know, Pixar got bought out by Disney, and then Pixar for the longest time had been churning out a bunch of hits while the Disney animated side was kind of treading water until Disney said, well, why don't we take all of your 3D rendering models and your aesthetic, and then we're going to just turn it into like what we do for our animated movies. Pixar was kind of like, wait, what are you doing? And they're like, yeah, we're just going to do it. We own you. So fucking deal with it. And that kind of started off a renaissance among Disney, but that came directly from poaching a lot of Pixar's initial talent. So that was kind of like the beginning sense of strife with with studios, but that was also in like 2009, 2010. And just over a period of time, Pixar has increasingly felt the feeling that they are just now a moneymaker because Disney is pushing the idea of, well, we want a Cars 3, we want an Incredibles 2, we want all of these sequel things because then we can sell a whole bunch of merch. And as hit or miss as things like The Good Dinosaur might have been for Pixar, like they also make Inside Out and Onward and that kind of stuff. But that also, I think if you took those three films box office, that is not equal to one Finding Dory, and that's what Disney actually cares about.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm here to sell Brachiosaurus T-shirts, and the people are absolutely clamoring for The Good Dinosaur 2. Like we have to fast track that to production.
I mean,
I like to imagine that like when Disney acquired Pixar, that they were like in the room learning from them, like, so wait, like the characters shouldn't be smoking? The characters, so you're saying they shouldn't be dressing up as other ethnicities in the movie? Like, oh, we're gonna have to do a little disclaimer on some of ours.
We're gonna have to make everybody as stereotypically Italian as possible, just to get the point across that these are Italian people. They're not. They're not ethnicity.
Did you notice they were
cross-dressing.
Italian?
Yeah.
it was so hard in that
Yes.
film. I was wondering the entire time. I was like, French, right? Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, it's hard to remember.
You know, the main villain was like a skinny pervert and an ascot. So I don't know. It could be Southern French. You don't know. Maybe the northern Slavic port regions. Who knows?
Not with that hairstyle. Not with that hair color. I'm about to break out the calipers and show why he is the stereotypical Italian villain here. But
He's like literally a sea monster.
Yeah, he was the most
It
sea
doesn't
monster
make
of
sense
them all.
genetically.
But
Oh my
but
gosh.
to wrap up, I guess the discussion of what I was talking about earlier, Pixar. So for the past, like, I don't know, 5-6 years or so, has felt like they are just a sequel generating factory for Disney. And then now with the original films that Pixar is pushing out, now going and being put directly on Disney Plus, but not being included as having that $30 additional surcharge, is really making them feel like they're the Disney Channel. They're the second child, the redheaded stepchild. of Disney instead of like actually being a legitimate studio that operates with Disney as the distribution branch of what they do. Like if you look at their upcoming movies, they have two that are listed. One is called Turning Red and the other is called Lightyear. Turning Red is about I believe like a shy teenager who, whenever she gets flustered, she turns into a giant red panda. And so, like, okay, there's that. And then Lightyear is like a Buzz Lightyear prequel movie starring Chris Evans, I think, is the voice of Buzz Lightyear, because, they're not going to use Tim Allen for obvious reasons, I think.
I'm just imagining that girl turns red, turns into a panda, as if it had the same level of stereotypes as like a late aughts DreamWorks product like Kung Fu Panda.
I was thinking about that too. I was kind of thinking about how like Pixar is just DreamWorks without like the fart jokes.
Yeah. And that one smirk that all like the protagonist characters have in the posters.
Yeah.
They've replaced that just with freckles.
Is a
now.
little chubby.
That's why
not in Pixar movies. They're svelte.
Everyone's skinny, live, like a nude otter, just able to roll around. Oh my fucking god!
I would love that if they went from being like this like sea monster child to like turning into like a chubby little child for no reason at all.
One of the sea monsters, that Uggo sea monster, the brother, when he transforms, he just becomes a black guy in the Italian Riviera, and then is hated for an entirely different reason. Like they said,
are you talking about Uncle Ugo?
Ugo, there we go. Not Uggo.
You know that's Sacha Baron Cohen?
Is it? My god.
Yeah. So I looked up the cast after the movie, and it was like blown away. It was just like everyone.
He was not given enough to do then. Like
the grandma is like the grandma in Napoleon Dynamite. It's Mac's mom.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and she just plays like the gross grandma. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. In everything. I wish I had her career.
I mean, like I knew that the two boys. It's Jacob Tremblay from Room, which is, it's still weird, but like that's the movie I associate him with. It's just like, no, you're always going to be like the creepy little sheltered kid from that movie. You'll never break out of it in my mind. And then you get like the smart wise mouth character from Shazam, which was who Alberto was. So congrats, I guess, to him on that. These two young actors, 13 and 14 years old.
Yeah, that's pretty young.
Yeah. That exposure to fame. Can't wait for them to just again, it's the Warner Bros. Or the Disney machine. They're going to stay in there until they're about 35, I think.
Either you're going to do terrible things or terrible things are going to happen to you.
I think their path probably depends on whether they have like a TikTok career at this point, because getting your big break on Hollywood voice acting, plus a rapidly escalating TikTok account.
It could work.
That's how to stay
that's
relevant.
Not a good
right?
recipe these days. Yeah.
It's like I don't remember which. I can't really tell the Paul brothers apart, but they like started on Disney Channel and then they were like, now we're gonna do YouTube, and then they like have remained relevant somehow.
Oh God.
Yep.
I don't know anybody else from the Disney Channel. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't name them.
The powers that be, like I'm convinced, like that are behind like the Disney Channel factory of basically celebrities, because you can't even classify them as doing one sort of like artistic medium, because it's just like, oh, you're on a Disney Channel show as you're a kid, like the ancient. The ones who offer sacrifices to the ancient ones have deemed you a public figure for life at that point. And you're like how like whether consciously or not, you're gonna do whatever spectacle that keeps you in the like limelight.
And some people might even think that they're gonna break out. Like, what's her name? Miranda Cosgrove, who was on iCarly, right? Was that her? Anyway, they're doing like the reboot, but now like she's an adult and she's doing streaming and everything else. I'm like, oh my God. Oh, this is just some real darkest timeline shit as they're squeezing every ounce of nostalgic content.
They should have HBO do it.
I saw a bit of Twitter posting about that iCarly revival thing, and it was like, you know how when something is sort of like going on, and you get like this Twitter snapshots of it. So I saw people roasting the headline that said like the iCarly revival would have sexual situations, and then there was this thing where someone was on a dating app in LA and like matched with the guy who's like, I guess, the main guy on that show. And then was like, oh my God, like this is what like dating in LA is like, that you match with this sort of guy.
I think I saw that one, but I thought that it was someone else. I thought it was Jerry O'Connell.
Oh, I thought it was the guy from the icon. Like, okay,
I think you're right.
Yeah, and
because I was like, Jerry O'Connell looks like shit.
Honestly, by this point, I'm pilled on those two things being like in the trending online space. It's no coincidence. Like the media panopticon
I'm a little
set that up.
Nothing's an accident. It's terrible. What did you guys think about the animation in the movie?
I thought that the animation looked incredibly good for a YouTube video. I was like, wow, this is some real high quality stuff.
Yeah.
Can't believe I'm able to watch this in 8-minute segments. Like, thank God how it should have ended is found a budget, I guess. I mean, like, they were all working from home, so they didn't have the full access to all the tools, apparently, for this movie that they normally would have.
Is that true?
God,
if I worked at Pixar, I'd risk my life. I don't know. What do they pay them? Like $1 million a year or something?
That's cute. It's real cute. That's the. They're not the voice talent. No, these animators.
You're right.
Like, if you're not willing to work 120 hours a week, there's like some NYU grad that just came out that is willing to. So, congratulations.
I'll think about it, okay? I'll think about working 120 hours a week.
Yeah.
I'll consider it.
The salary, though, is, you're compensated well. We're talking like $25,000 a year. It's pretty great.
Oh,
times.
Really?
Well, no, not that bad in actuality. But
I was like, shit, man.
I would be surprised if a lot of these guys broke 100,000 or like 120,000. Just for.
Yeah, I guess it probably takes like 1,000 people to make a movie like this,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
what do you think? 1,000?
That industry, from what I've heard, is just like churn and burn. Like, people obviously come into it passionate because they're like, I'm gonna do art. And I love video games, so I'm going to make video game art. And then it's just like sending them through the, like, breaking them on the corporate wheel.
They're like 23 and just like full psychosis. Just like, I can't anymore.
Post-college, super ambitious. Like, oh, it's my first job. I'm gonna go so hard. I'm gonna make so much money.
I'm gonna make an impact. Children are gonna resonate with my art. What are you making Cars for?
I am making water effects that are only marginally better than the original Finding Nemo.
Yeah, I thought that the scenery and like the cute little town, I thought that was pretty good, but I did not like their hands.
Oh yeah.
It was like Wallace and Gromit. They had like the big like Mickey Mouse hands, and I was like, oh, I just don't really like that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I mean, like it is something like with Pixar that they do try and think about the world and like think about how everything works, so they all have an internal logic. And this movie didn't have a lot of that. An example of it being like how the goatfish farming worked. I have no idea about like what era of society that child lived in. But then similarly, like the hands don't match a lot of the equipment that they have. So like when you're seeing the dad character chopping fish and he has, again, like the Mickey Mouse glove hands that's chopping something, the handles seem a little bit too narrow just in general.
Yeah. was trying to figure out what the purpose of like the goat fish or like sheep fish herding was.
I think it was because he was country boy going to the city. I think that was
It's a Jesus metaphor, actually.
No. Yeah. It's definitely
and they were just kind of like
the metaphor,
making it silly.
But we are over analyzing for the sake of pointing out how ridiculous it is. So I
have
think,
like 3 more pages on the country boy thing.
Oh,
no, I'm just kidding.
they are harvesting those fish's scales. I think.
What are they going to do to the fish?
Like the scales, that's the all the merch in the sea is made with those fish scales.
Oh, I get it. Like the sheep wool.
They're like shearing them. Yeah, so you got to let them hang out and eat. Yeah.
It didn't really seem like his parents worked very hard. I also had an issue with that.
That his parents were just kind of languishing around, and that they got, at least for like a solid week and a half, they were confused by the rock statue version of their child that was standing around. That fact, or
they didn't seem very bright.
No, they didn't. But they're fish people. They're Italians, Grift. What can you expect of them?
Unfortunately, I don't know why, but I really don't like Maya Rudolph. And that's who did the mom's voice.
Yeah.
I don't really have like a reason for not liking her. Like if she like came up to me like a stranger, it's that one face she makes. You know what I'm talking about. It's like she seems like a lovely person, but when she's like doing comedy, she does that one face.
You mean the Kamala Harris face that she was using all the time? Yeah.
I'm doing it now, but you guys can't see it because this is a podcast. And she just like stares at the SNL camera like, ugh. And I don't like it, and I don't like her. So I really wanted to resonate with this mom character, but I hate her.
You were actively rooting for her downfall? You were like, well...
No, yeah. Like at first I was like, oh, she's a helicopter mom. I hate her. And then like I saw myself in her character a little bit.
Oh, okay. I see.
No spoilers. I don't know. Do we spoil? Yeah, we spoil everything on this podcast, right? Yeah. You're not going to watch it. That's why you're listening to this.
Yeah, don't watch it unless you have kids. Just take the talking points that we have. And then regurgitate them to your friends, and then...
Or while your kids are watching this, listen to this podcast. It's perfect.
Yeah, what do the Spotify analytics say about the age demographic of our listenership?
Oh, God.
7 and under.
It's micro target this one. Oh, no. Hi, emoji. Uh-oh.
I'm just so glad children haven't discovered podcasts yet. Once that becomes a thing, like podcasts for kids and teens, it's probably a thing, but you know what I mean. That's gonna.
I think the function of video games on Twitch serves that thing because because that's like a sort of constant podcast narration, and they're developing like a parasocial relationship with the broadcaster. Like,
but we don't do that on this podcast.
No.
You guys are different.
We don't have that type of corporate synergy.
And our listeners are different. And our relationship to them,
our listeners,
it's more than that.
Everyone
not like
who
the other people
brands their profile as some sort of like Grift Shop shill or like Grift Shop promoter, that's all voluntary.
Yeah, and we're only going to refer to those people in the third person, not giving them any sense of acknowledgement whatsoever for their
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Eminem stan level affection towards your shop. The three of them that exist.
I had an IRL friend DM me the other day and was like, do you pay Ruby Grift Shop promoter? And I'm like, well, we have a merch collab and we split the profits. And like, I think like it was just this like what like it's like strange enough that people will ironically adopt another account's like sort of branding and visage for online clout.
Yes.
Like, that's pretty standard around here.
And the important thing is it always ends well. It always has like a fantastic Disney-esque ending of people riding a Vespa together off into the sunset, you know?
Yeah, parasocial relationships, it's like It ends as well as like when prisoners get love letters, and then that turns into like a thing. It ends like that.
I'm just imagining now some chick being like, so I was sending this guy letters while he was in prison, and he like caught feelings. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so gross.
I mean,
Parasocial much?
it's no coincidence that like in season 2 of a true crime Netflix special, like the wrongfully accused prisoner like has a girlfriend.
Yeah, no, yeah. He's on the up and up.
Yeah.
He has hair. So he's got girlfriends now. I don't know. That's how it works, right?
Oh,
the guy in prison still has hair.
It's the media exposure. The hair is like, I'm sure it's negotiable.
No, I meant like both. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just the hair.
I understood your point. But now people can see it. Okay, anyways, we're talking about the movie Luca.
Yes, this very important, very pivotal movie. Okay, so real quick, just a very brief synopsis for anyone who's like not actually aware. Because we've only been talking about this now for like 36 minutes, so it's fine for these people. But Luca is set in the Italian Riviera during the 1950s or 60s, and it centers on Luca, a little sea monster with the ability to look human while on land, who goes out and explores the town of Porto Rosso with his new best friend Alberto, and experiences a life-changing summer. So it's kind of on Letterboxd, someone called this movie Calamari by Your Nemo, and I was like, yep, that seems about right. Yep. So that's it. It's a very quaint movie. I think we can kind of combine two sections in the what did you think about it and would you recommend it? It falls squarely into the why not territory for me. Like, it's likable enough characters. It seems solid enough animation, and they have some unique designs. Like, I'm glad that they're breaking the mold a bit. I also liked about half of them and disliked about half of them. And so if you have kids, great. Set it and forget it. You'll be fine. This is in baseball terms like a hitting a double.
Yeah,
it's perfectly okay.
I don't like sports.
Oh, damn.
I'm just kidding.
I think now's the time to broach my grievances with just the very stereotypical depiction of Italian food. I think there was not a single food besides pasta that was seen like served in this movie. And there was a lot of food scenes.
Yeah.
Fish, true, yeah.
Espresso.
But it was like fish, pasta, maybe like a little wine glass there on the table. But it was it was just an overwhelming like amount of pasta being presented, and it's we get the point. Italians eat pasta.
No, yeah, that's true. It's fine. They do. I mean,
you know how Italians are, don't you?
I know quite a few Italians, like born and raised in Italy, and they eat so much fucking pasta. It's just true. They just really do. They're some of the pickiest people I know too.
I think it's just they're happy to see finally some representation on screen. Like that's what it really matters, I think.
I thought though, to make this more authentic to Italian cultures, that they should have had everybody be smoking.
They should have. They should have. But
it's a Disney movie.
Now
you can't do that.
Well, really, it's Pixar that's not down with the smoking. Disney's fine.
No, Disney with Cruella. That was like part of their big rule. They were like, absolutely not. She can butcher those puppies' brains, but she can't smoke. So yeah, come on now. We're talking about a different movie while talking about Luca. It's a good sign. Good sign for how this thing is going.
Yeah.
It's so hard to talk about movies that are kind of like just fine. Like, yeah, I mean, they like it was okay. Like, do we want to talk about how even though it's set in like the 1950s and 60s, like the scuba diving pastime was popular in the 30s and 40s. So people would have definitely found out about how there were sea monsters doing weird post-agrarian societies just off the coast. Like that would have been a total thing. But,
Italy was trying to on paper they were trying to disavow their fascist past or their recent past at this time. So
yeah, that's
that
the
involved
real
forgetting
reason
about the sea monsters.
Yeah, what do you think Mussolini's opinion on the sea monsters would have been, huh? Like, this could have changed the tide of the war if you think about it.
They were a
that's
subversive
kinda true.
element. Yeah, like
okay. I thought that, and don't like come for me because I'm not saying it was great, but this felt like the Pixar attempt at like a Miyazaki.
Yeah,
Or is that,
yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like how it was like the seaside European town with the kids. I'm not saying that it was like, it's no Kiki's Delivery Service, but like that kind of thing where it's like these kids are like alone all the time in a seaside town. I don't know.
No, that certainly seems. I mean, it has that very much like it's one magical
it's like
summer.
Coming of age,
it's the coming of age trope that they were doing it, but they're like, oh, well, this is going to be about sea monsters, and the reason that parents aren't involved is because two of them are sea monsters. One of them lives in a different city because the dad is divorced and the dad's always at work. And then what are the other adults up to? Just harassing the children. It's a bizarre little town.
Yeah, true. Okay, so but I did think like their little montage in the beginning was cute when it was like he went from being like basically a servant to his parents who did nothing and doing all their shepherding for them.
Yes.
It went from that to like him having like the best summer of his life with his new friend. And it was kind of cute.
His
it was
friend.
Like when he finally gets to have like a child.
Yeah, his friend. Yeah. His friend. We're putting a lot of
so like do you guys think
that.
that was like some gay stuff or like what was that?
I think that it is the most gay a Japanese or Russian censor board would let you get away with while playing.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So I'm of two minds because, we should be able to have like stories of like heterosexual friendship between like not pushing like any other sort of like sexual agenda versus like just like two young guys like being like good friends and like going through a coming of age story, but. In this one, like it felt like the other sea monster guy was like a little bit older and more experienced. So like,
literally a call me by your name almost type situation.
Like there's a little bit of the grooming spectrum, if you're gonna put it in the parlance of the online space right now.
Yeah, I mean, a 14-year-old grooming a 13-year-old, like that may not seem like much, but
one age difference, 1 year age difference at that age.
We don't know sea monster physiology. That could be.
I'm still in middle school. You're already to high school. We're 1 year apart. Big difference, okay? Big difference. Okay, anyways.
No, I mean, like...
I think it's funny you guys brought this up because I didn't really get, like, super gay vibes or anything, but I didn't
really either. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like I've seen way queerer bait. You know what I mean? Like, where I'm like, oh, this is, like, undeniable. But
how explicit do you want it to be with 13 and 14-year-olds? Like, do you want them just, like, sucking and fucking on screen? Or what? Yeah, like...
I mean, in terms of like queer bait, it's not like end of Legend of Korra or something. Like it's not like on something that's kids media, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really mind that. I think it's funny though that a lot of I guess more like the Disney princess movies, they've kind of gone from princesses don't do love or sex or kissing anymore. But then they like the male characters in the movies are like, I don't know, sometimes it's only okay if it's like a little bit gay. And I'm like, what's going on? But I also think it's okay to have a little bit of like, whether it's queer or straight, some romance is interesting. And I think it's fun for kids. And yeah, Disney princess shouldn't just be like owned by her father and, being like sold off to a husband. But also like there can be a love story.
There can be.
Like, I mean,
yeah. I think
movies are so neutered.
Happy medium.
Like,
yeah.
Like movies are so neutered nowadays, and like, it probably has something to do with Disney owning like 40% of the box office, and basically the secret cabal behind everything. like enacting
They're turning the frogs gay. Yeah.
a new Hays Code.
Well, I mean,
Like,
I think that's something to bring up. I remember person I know online, R.S. Benedict, she wrote, I believe it was for Blood Knife, but it's an article talking about Marvel movies, about like everyone's attractive, but no one fucks. And that, was Twitter discourse for a day.
Is that true? I haven't really seen the Marvel movies.
Oh, well.
Do they not fuck?
No, they don't. It is weird. Yeah, you would expect something, but no, not really.
Can they fuck?
See, that's why Zack Snyder is normal, because he understands that like superheroes would fuck too. Like that's why like
he posts pictures of Batman eating out Catwoman. Like, yes, this is normal. Yeah.
Like he's in touch with himself in a way that like the sort of like fey male feminist media types who are in charge of Marvel like can't allow themselves to do or aren't allowed by the producers. It's it's getting into some like strange psychosexual territory, but like
that's really interesting. I didn't really know that the Marvel characters didn't fuck.
Hey, it's fine. People were shipping Bucky and Falcon together, and then now Loki is gender fluid. So like it's a wonderful.
I feel
ball
like by not having anyone fuck, it makes the whole like fandom so much more rabid for it, right? Like X-Files, you're like, oh, I just want them to fuck.
That's exactly right. It's been like 10 years of edging for these people. Like this is like an entire generation.
Like, at least give us that one episode where some other guy is in Mulder's body. Maybe it's not like it really happened, but we still got to like visualize it.
I'm just picturing that scene in Avengers Endgame where you watch and you're seeing like all of the fucking heroes from everywhere across everything. Only it's like the end of Sausage Party where it's just like a massive group orgy that's taking place. That I think is the payoff.
It's canon. I think it's I always think of movies like I don't know, like when we were younger. I don't want to sound like a fucking decrepit old woman by saying this, but like movies like Stand By Me, where there's like some weird violent parts of the movie.
Yeah.
That like kids are like, oh my god, this is like so fucking cool and badass.
Stand By Me
like Goonies.
rules.
Goonies, there's some scary shit. Yeah, but also like Adventure Time. They are like straight up gay.
Yes.
That's fine. And it's like a great love story. I'm like, I'm not gay, but I'm definitely Marceline. Okay, like every girl wants to be Marceline. And if Marceline was completely, there was no romance story, I probably wouldn't think that. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Sure. I mean,
does that make any sense?
It does. I just think that,
sorry if you guys wanted to be Marceline.
It's rough. It's rough. The only things that make me question my sexuality is playing Fallout New Vegas. So, but I think that's like a common trend all the way through. We are not going down that tangent.
Oh, that's fine. Okay, I really don't know. We don't have to. I think some edge is good for kids. Like, it doesn't have to be like the shit from like Pinocchio or Peter Pan.
No, there's a lot of other problematic things involved in Peter Pan.
It can just be like fun, edgy.
Talk about a grooming narrative.
No, I was referring to the explicit racism, but that too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, like, you can have a story where there's like a good love story and you're like, okay, it doesn't have to be fucking John Smith and Pocahontas.
Yeah, the song and dance number in Luca of what makes the pasta man pasta probably didn't need to occur.
I was like, oh, maybe they're gonna maybe the dad, the big dad with one arm, maybe he's gonna fall in love. Like, where's the love? I don't know. They're Italian.
The love is the family. It's the need for fatherly approval that Alberto has, because he has like a scumbag deadbeat sea monster dad.
Luca, I am your father. Sorry. Oh, they should have named the other kid Luca.
See, it could have worked.
And then they could have said that.
But then we would have to call.
I also felt like Alberto was just Tom Sawyer without like the slurs.
Yeah, he did kind of have that.
Kind of quintessential.
Well, I got more of
though.
like a Huck Finn vibe personally.
Oh yeah, he would definitely be Huck Finn, but without the slurs.
Yeah, or maybe with the slurs. We
Yeah,
don't know. He's only
yeah.
learning Italian little bit by bit. So like, just wait. He'll figure a few out. A few choice characters.
Yeah, because Tom Sawyer's the one who's breaking away from the civilized society, and he had like the one of them, and then the others in that Huck Finn model of like the rebellious runaway person on their own who's like
The
like
virgin
getting this
Tom
other,
Sawyer
like,
versus the Chad Huck Finn.
getting
By the
him
way,
into this lifestyle. Like,
are we finally going to talk about the queer baiting in Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn? Are we finally going to talk about this? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm sure there's a thread out there. Like,
Only
Well,
one.
there's
Like,
it has to exist, or someone like breaking it down for you real quick why you're not allowed to teach that book in school.
this episode is great for me because it's just like, well, I mean, it's an experience. It's really like you're talking about it with other real life people, and you're like, no, but I want to keep talking about the Pixar movie and not like about what adults should actually be talking about for extended periods of time. No, I want to talk about this instead.
Yeah.
So yeah, he Luca and Huck Finn, Alberto, they kind of go exploring around a little bit, and then his parents find out. They say, "No, we're gonna lock you away with your uncle Sacha Baron Cohen, and then we'll hope for the best." So then they escape to a small Italian town where they're met by the local villain, I guess, quote unquote. I don't know what we want to call this character. His name's Ercole, and he's like a 30-year-old man who still competes in the children's games all around.
He's basically just like a local pervert who thinks he's hot shit.
Yeah,
and has a couple like droogies in tow.
And I know some people were very critical of him as a villain, but I really did enjoy that because he was just a real
Pixar
bastard.
doesn't do villains, right?
Not really.
Yeah.
No. Like
they kind of do like the villain is on the inside, like that kind of thing.
Or that the villain like had a whole bunch of pain and that's why. They're like,
yeah, we're not gonna like kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the villain's journey was the message, like the kid movie message at the end. Like the biggest thing I got from it, like, was when the sea monsters were revealed to the town as a whole and they had weapons. They did not like do a sea monster pogrom. Like the people as a collective, even though they had like this collective hatred for the other, they were just like, as soon as like one like the influential Fisher guy was like, nah, I'm not doing this because like I have a personal relationship with them. But he's like,
yeah, no,
everyone else was like,
one,
yeah,
so.
everyone else was like, I don't have the stomach for this.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Also, okay, so Ercole, the bad guy, I thought it was kind of funny. I mean, I don't know what you guys thought, but I live in Little Italy in San Francisco.
oh.
And that is exactly what the kind of guys around here are like. Like literally just like walk up to a counter and like slam 50 cents down and be like, espresso. And you're like, Jesus Christ, dude, it's like $4. It's always been $4.
I
don't know, just like that kind of thing, like very like, ooh, like I don't know, like, hey, these Americans, and I'm like, okay, you've lived here longer than me.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you still talking to me like that? I know your name is actually like Greg Johnson. What's happening here?
No, their names are always like Centauri or something. I don't know. Is that Greek?
Like
that's like a place in Greece.
or whatever. Like
or Ercole, yeah.
Exactly.
It's like it was just kind of funny to see because I'm like, oh, I actually kind of, I mean, not to the point where they're racing Vespas or anything with children, but
what?
Also, the Vespas didn't have anything to do with the race, so I didn't really understand that. I thought it was a Vespa race.
Yeah, I mean, that would have made more sense, but like this movie had such low stakes that it was like getting like $400 as the reward so you could buy a shitty Vespa, you know?
They should have at least made it like pod racing. I mean, they bought fucking Star Wars.
Now this is Vespa
This is
racing.
Vespa race. I was literally just
Also, they made it a triathlon, except for instead of running, it was eating. So, more anti-Italian discrimination.
But they love pasta. That's the joke. Haha.
They don't like running, they like pasta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see,
Yeah.
that's why all these people in this fishing town, like, it's not even about fish. Like, I get though, like, since the race was sponsored by the pasta company, like, it would make sense to include.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, like that's what it was.
Wow.
It was like a shitty little
it's
local
a different
pasta
type
company.
every year. You never know what type it's going to be. You better prepare. You better buy.
Also, like,
all
don't
the
Italians
types.
make their own?
That actually, hold on. That's an angle we probably need to explore, Grift, because that seems
Yeah,
great.
but-
Yeah, some.
Because one of the characters like explicitly said, like, you never know which type it's going to be, so you got to prepare by eating all of them, as if like the shape of pasta and not the volume is like a like limiting factor. Like, once you like mash into it in your mouth, it all becomes like the same thing. Doesn't matter. But they've psyoped the entire town into thinking you need to buy, in preparation for the race, you need to buy every single shape of pasta to prepare different contingencies.
And it's
so
not
you're
even
ready.
adults. It's a children's race. So they're indoctrinating an entire young generation to please go out, please go and buy our pasta. You know, it's just something weird to me. But, you know, I think that's also something that me and you, Griff, we can get in on that. We can try that out in the South. You know, we'll do like some crawfish triathlon, I guess, or what is it, like a clam bake triathlon up north? Could that work? Is that culturally insensitive?
No, I don't think you could make fun of waspy New England sea culture if you if you even tried. So yeah, that's riff away. Say all the anti-northeastern people slurs. I don't know. I don't know what a slur for like a Boston asshole is.
I mean, you know, a fan of all of Ben
I've got a
Affleck's
couple.
work, I think, is probably the deepest slur cut you could do. Yeah. Okay. So the two boys, they get into town. They meet the local fisherman's daughter, whose name is Julia, but spelled weird in Italian. That's right. I said it. Yeah, they kind of form the triad that you follow because they get ready for the race, and then they're harassed by the bully. And then, Alberto is revealed as a sea monster, and Luca says like, "Oh, whoa, he's a sea monster." Gosh,
treachery.
Yeah, that specifically was the scene where I was getting a lot of like LGBTQ vibes from it, of like someone who is like, after someone has been outed in the small town, that person is like,
I thought
no.
it was more of like a racism thing, but that makes more sense.
I had also had just gotten done rewatching a season's worth of Lovecraft Country, and our main character's father in that is gay, and there's a scene that is much more brutal because it's set in the South in like the 1950s of a gay black man turning on another gay black man in that. And so,
that's
with that, I was like, oh, okay, well, you know, this seems to be pretty much like a 1-to-1 for it there. Again,
Alberto did get pretty jealous of Luca when he was like spending more time with the girl instead of him, and not wanting to go right off on his, that he was getting very like the level of jealousy was definitely more than like, oh, you're my best friend level.
Well, because also
I'm just now realizing that for like guys, that riding on a Vespa together might like seem gay. Like just now that's hitting me, because I think maybe just as a woman I'm like, yeah, that's fine, like I don't know,
just girl things, you know.
Just girl things.
I've seen Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen do it in one of their movies. So
they're definitely not gay.
But
well, that's been normalized now. Let's be real.
So then at the time of the race, you're getting the stereotypical Pixar beats of like everyone's kind of the team is back together in a weird way, but then the rain starts And that I guess was another fun thing that they played with throughout the movie. Of anytime any of them would get wet, any part of them, they would turn into like a sea monster. And so, like if it rained or if they got something splashed, yeah, exactly. And it also kind of like upped the stakes because it isn't some like bizarre pirate's curse where it's like as long as you walk on dry land, you will be a man. But if you go into the sea, you're a sea monster. Instead, it's just like how your body reacts, which, you know, would make them amphibians, I think, right? I'm not good at biology, but, you know, they're not fish is my point.
I don't think that's what amphibians do.
Amphibians
just like turn into a lizard on land.
Yeah.
And if you splash them with water,
Well,
I have an entire aquarium full of drowned iguanas that would like to say otherwise. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you know, a tadpole does become a frog, but not in like 2 to 5 seconds. Like, it's
fine. Super frog, something. I don't know. Teenage Mutant Ninja Frogs. If we can make it work. But yeah. So in the pivotal race, that's then when it starts to rain, and so then like the risk of being outed as a sea monster is increasing. But Luca, while he's pedaling, he sees Alberto with an umbrella, and there's this attempt to hide it, but then Alberto trips, and then he's revealed again, but this time to the whole town. And Luca has his redemption of, you know, he also steps into the rain and reveals who he is. So, you know, great, I guess. Like, wonderful moment that, again, the entire town was about to go out and like kill them, lynch them, cut them up for food, until the biggest, strongest one-armed fisherman in the world was like, actually, they're cool. They're one of the good ones, you see. And it was okay, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think, I don't know, now that you guys brought it up, I'm wondering, like, this whole, like, his dad kind of rejected him story.
Oh, yeah, no,
right?
Julia's
whole
Julia's dad definitely killed Alberto's dad. Like, I for sure think that's what happened. Like,
right, and I'm wondering, like, because he definitely like replaced him as the father figure, right? Like the acceptance.
Yep.
But I'm wondering, like, is the reason that the dad didn't want anything to do with Alberto because he was gay?
Oh, I'm fine with you being a sea monster. I'm like putting this together now. I just didn't want one of you people in my house.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Like, the dad rejected him, right? Because of who he is. So he, like, and he abandoned him.
Well, I mean...
which was sad, but it also, like, that felt like it took up maybe 30 seconds of the movie.
Precisely. I mean, this movie, it really does clip along. It keeps such a small pace. And in a weird way, I would rather view this movie with two little gay boys rather than them being straight, because the possibility is if they're straight and this movie is successful, then the sequel, we get to watch Alberto and Luca vying for the attention of Julia, like 3 years later after school during the summer. And oh boy, won't that be wonderful and totally original? A love triangle could take place.
Yeah, I cannot wait for the trending headline that's being like screenshotted on Twitter in 10 years of like Luca 2 now with sexual situations.
Okay, wait, but now I'm wondering, now that you guys enlightened me to the fact that this is about two young gay people or monsters or whatever.
That's the quote, direct quote. Kidgo says Luca about two gay monsters. but
it makes it even worse.
Do you know what month it is?
I mean, they literally made them monsters. Sea monsters. But okay, so now I'm wondering about this choice at the end to like split them up.
Yeah.
And keep it a secret, or I don't know.
It's that
he went
thing.
to school with the girl.
Yeah.
Why didn't they stay together?
Well, you know,
they're like 14. That's like adults.
I was going to say,
Italy, right?
let's you know, I'm not going to go real darkest timeline here, but what do you think the legal age of consent in Riviera, Italy was in the 1950s?
It's not good.
I don't know. I'm thinking of a number.
If it's in the double digits, it's probably too high.
Yeah, hold up the amount of fingers I think it is on the screen.
Yeah, I think they were doing
No
that to
feet
just
needed.
be, like a bittersweet kind of an ending thing, and
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
To
Because he really wanted to go like to school or whatever, which again, another arbitrary storyline they just kind of squeezed in there. Like he loves books. I don't
well,
know.
yeah, and the payoff for it is something that I think, like, as a parent of a toddler right now, it doesn't hit me the same way. But like, if I was the parent of a child who was gay, and then I see a line in a Pixar movie that's like, well, people are always going to hate him for who he is. That's just something that is how the world works. But he seems to be good at finding the people who accept him for who he is, and that's what's important. It'd be like, oh, okay, well, that's what we're building to here, at least on the parent side of things. So thanks, Pixar, for that just toothless fucking message at all. It's a joy.
I wish
Also,
they would have made
yeah.
all the sea monsters gay, though. Like, just living underwater, it's just like, it's bound to happen.
Luca's parents
It's
find
not
out
even
about it.
Yeah. No, it's not a choice. It's nothing. It's just who you are.
Yeah, they're going to send Luca off with his like bachelor uncle in the deep.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Where there's only darkness.
He was really normal too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a post-credits scene with him because I was like, well, once the movie, like I was on my phone for like a decent amount of this.
It's
but,
fine. You can say 80% or more. Yeah, it's okay.
But then, like, I just let the credits roll, and there was a little bit at the end with that
I missed
Sacha
this.
Baron Cohen's guy in the deep, where he actually got a little bit of dialogue. So I wish there was more of him in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, though, that I will take just those two scenes because it left me wanting a lot more of that character than being like, oh my God, did we really need like an Uncle Ugo subplot to be running throughout this entire
He really
thing?
arced.
Yeah. Uncle Ugo is like a weird homophobe the entire time and pairs up with the Vespa guy to do something. Now, though, that we've kind of bounced all over this fucking plot, we've run, to the left, to the right across it, backed over it, all that fun stuff. We get to the part where now we get to talk about how many trash cans it has, and this is fascinating for me because I mean, I could see it going any which way. So I'm going to throw it to y'all first. So, Kelgore, what are we feeling like?
I would say that this is like a 2 or 3.
Wow.
I mean,
out of 4. Okay.
Out of 4, because, okay, here's the thing. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't amazing.
Uh-huh.
But it also wasn't bad enough to get, like, dogs knocked your mom off a cliff discourse going.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there wasn't anything in it that's, like, ever gonna be, like, memeable or funny enough for, like, adults to talk about, like, en masse. You know what I mean? Like it seems like they're making these movies a little bit too clean cut, and I'm like maybe they should have just made them openly gay, and then people would be talking about it more.
That would have got people talking. Like,
I think
that's what
plenty
you
of
gotta
people
do
are
now.
already talking about how this movie is gay.
Oh, see, I
So-
also
Really?
made sure not to go look up any think pieces about this because I wanted you guys to get my pure,
Oh, well,
unadulterated
see, I appreciate
opinion.
that.
Like, I liked it, and like
Sure.
I'll rewatch it.
Sure. That's fine.
I'll attempt to make the pasta from it.
It's trash cans, but full of pasta. It's
Yeah, trash cans full of pasta, and I'm bringing them out to the curb.
It just there's one of those insufferable TikTok meal videos where where it's like the white women like rolling ingredients around on their marble
Oh my God.
like kitchen countertops, but it's just like the Luca meal where you're like hand mashing pasta and like just spreading the
And
pesto
raw
into
fish.
it.
Just-
Yeah, raw. Yeah, just Just chopping up raw.
Yeah, we should dress up as the dad from Luca and then do the white lady TikTok recipe
Yes.
on the countertop. And we're just like chopping fish.
It is nice, by the way, to see someone who's built like me finally getting further representation, because it's that and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. It's kind of the two that I have to pull off. But, it's great.
But besides him being Italian, you have to squeeze in the diversity angle, because it's not like he lost his arm in either of the two world wars that preceded the time period this movie took place in. He was born that way.
Yeah,
and
born this way on Luca.
I thought that was cute though, because they made him seem so scary, and then he was just like the least scary person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of cute. Like, I don't know, but yeah, maybe a little bit. Maybe they could have just made it like a war wound.
Yeah, sure. But who were you fighting?
That would have been fine.
I was,
sea monsters.
Sea monsters. Yeah. Is that what you called the Allied forces back in the day? Okay, great.
Well, you could describe British people like that pretty well. he was on the North African front. So I'm gonna give this 2 trash cans.
Okay.
I think. It was technically competent. I guess it was. If it was going for the gay angle, sure, that's cute, but it didn't really send it all the way that you need to actually to get a point.
And also having them be monsters, that was
yeah
NPC monsters.
It was a real choice.
It's a real choice by the writers. Yeah. But like
it's like a metaphor.
Yeah.
But they have to be monsters. Yes, exactly.
They have to have scales. They have to have like blotches on their body.
I did think it was funny that they made the joke in there about how like they speak underwater, but the dolphins still just make that same stupid noise.
Yeah, that was actually
They're like, I don't know why they don't just speak like the rest of us.
Yeah, dolphins are just making
maybe
noises.
1 trash can.
Yeah, I don't know. I just keep thinking about. I think Kelton, you posted this from the pod account about. There was someone being like, "Yo, Pixar movies don't hit the same as they used to," and I think the lack of feeling that comes from the people who originally grew up watching Pixar movies, the lack of feeling they have towards the newer varieties is like a combination of, they're not doing anything really ambitious like they used to, which they were giving more creative control and budgets to more independent people who are trying to have messages. And now these are basically just corporate animation products, technically well made, but they're not really saying anything new or really pushing anything forward. And like, but it's also, we're mid-age millennials. We're not 10 anymore. Mm-hmm. And it's these movies these movies are made for people much younger than us, and that's obviously going to affect any objective judgment of
can't wait
of the entertainment value.
20 years from now, someone's going to be like, what happened to Pixar? Why aren't they making amazing movies like Luca and Soul? Come on.
Those classics.
Some Onward. Please just make it happen.
Or they're going to be in the future that like you're going to turn it on the Disney Plus app, and it's going to be like, this film depicts racist stereotypes of Italians. And he's going to be like the offensive tag.
God.
Exactly. So but I think maybe we peaked a little bit with the whole Pixar thing, like our age.
Sure.
Not just Pixar, but like kids movies in general, because a lot of the like really early ones, you got like Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella and stuff, those movies suck.
Yeah, I remember being a child when Sleeping Beauty came out. Yes, indeed. I'm a vampire.
They take forever. You like can't even really understand what they're talking about because it's very like medieval or something. And I'm like, I don't think kids know what's going on in these movies.
It's dog shit. The best thing they have going for them is that they're also like 64 minutes. Like they're short little things. True. So they run it through.
And you get like some tight lip kissing at the end, you know, with like
with her
total
unconscious
2D,
body.
2D animation.
Hot. Yeah, that's a good message. Let's slide some tongue in there, Prince Charming.
Exactly. So I think that we really got like the most depth out of a lot of the kids' movies, and a little bit of the like edge still on there. And these ones are a little, they aren't either. They're like really great stories, too perfect, too sterile.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's exactly right. Like for me, I'm giving this just like half of trash can, not because I think like, oh wow, it's so great. I just think like there's not really any meat on the bones of this kind of story. Like there's not that much for me to genuinely rip into, other than being like, you know, I'm going to give you some needling here for this movie and some for that. But most importantly, like I'm going to forget about you in like 2 weeks. Like I'm going to go like, oh yeah, I did watch Luca. That was a thing. Okay. Anyways, back to, I don't know, doom scrolling Letterboxd or whatever it is I'm up to in an absurd hour in the night.
Yeah. I think in the future though, they should do one where the sea monsters have to hide the fact that they're Italian.
Yeah, I would enjoy that.
And that's pretty much all I got out of this movie, you know? They're just like trying to survive in America without showing anybody that they're really Italian.
Constantly staying wet so that way people are like, whoa, sea monsters. They accidentally dry out. They're having to go become like a circus freak. Like, come everybody, look, the Italian. Showing up.
Yeah, they go like 6 hours without shampooing and you can start to tell that they're Italian again.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough.
The
I
sea
actually am
monsters
Italian. So is my husband.
Yeah.
We
I'm
don't
so
care.
sorry. Yeah.
We're also like kind of that peak age where like right as we were coming of age, Jersey Shore was really big, so we're like,
that's even better. Yeah, like Italian but not from Jersey. Need to clarify. Yeah.
Like we don't talk about it. We don't bring it up. You know?
Such orange coded language should not exist.
My kids are gonna turn 18 and be like, "Mom, are we Italian?"
That's when the t-shirt that's 2 sizes too small and like GTL pops up as a chest tattoo right across, I think, right? That's Italian puberty as far as I understand.
Yeah, exactly.
I also think that iguanas are amphibians, so I may not be up to date on the biology like I should be. But yeah, so go ahead, Grift. What?
Oh no, I was just saying, you know, you learn everything you need to know about anti-Italian bias from the Christopher Columbus Sopranos episode. Once you've seen that, that's now you have the blueprint for seeing these tropes in other pieces of media.
It's perfect. Yeah, but yeah, all in all, I think Luca was fine.
Yeah. That's that ringing endorsement. Go storm the Bastille.
Yeah.
I don't know. Bastille's in France. I don't even know why the fuck I said that.
Well, you probably got confused because you thought the movie maybe was in France because you forgot that it was taking place in Italy.
Somehow it's barely mentioned.
They didn't really.
Yeah, it's an issue. But Kelgore, where can people find you? What are you doing? What have you got to plug? What's happening in your world?
I am all over Twitter. I'm on there daytime, nighttime. I'm doing episodes of the Troutcast, which you can find that on pretty much any podcast platform. And I'm on YouTube, but you just look up Kelgore for that. Also, I realized way too late that there's already another guy who has something called the Troutcast. But his, I think, is about fishing.
Oh,
Mine
okay.
is the only podcast that isn't about fishing.
Good clarification point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he also only has like 2 episodes.
Hey, even better. Let his failed podcast set the groundwork then for a mighty empire.
I'll sue him later.
You'll
I should
know
listen to his. I should try to go on
Yeah,
it.
pull an Elon Musk and then just be like, I don't know, for $25, I will buy the rights to Troutcast, and then have you say that I came up with Troutcast and you were only doing the show at my behest. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. $25 and a loaded gun.
That's how fishing works, right?
You won't be podcasting about fishing anymore.
Listen, do you have a Billy Bass merch collab with Grift Shop? Other Troutcast? I do not think so.
Yeah, are we gonna do that? We should maybe we'll talk about it, but let's maybe
talk
make
shop.
that happen.
Let's talk shop.
Yeah, because I feel like I need some Big Mouth Billy Bass merch for my podcast. Also, is that an infringement? We'll figure it out.
My corporate overlords have been particularly stringent on things lately. So I had them censor a fucking Monopoly Man in like a Target symbol. Like it was just like the most minimalist outline of the classic like Monopoly Man hat with the mustache and face, and they flagged it for copyright infringement. And it no direct reference to like, this is the Monopoly Man from the game Monopoly by whatever like Hasbro or whatever fucking toy company it is.
Yeah, they don't fuck around.
No, and they took down my ACAB merch, they took down my Dorner merch. They took down my fake QAnon merch.
I'm always surprised when you're able to use like the emojis sometimes. I'm like, is that an issue? Can you use emojis?
Well, I do all I base it off I know which designs you're referring to, and I have based them off emojis, but it's like I'm doing a original embroidery design.
Nice. Oh, okay.
It's not like I'm going to like one of those pages that like, here is the different emoji for every single different sort of computer system, and like just taking the JPEG from that and then putting it on a hat. No, it's like I'm actually in Adobe Illustrator for all that.
I think you can get around it. You got to buy vintage fabric that has the Monopoly Man on it, and then use that.
Okay.
Because then it's like found art and collage. Then you can get around it.
Okay.
We'll figure this out.
Yeah.
We'll just actually sell a Big Mouth Billy Bass with every shirt.
Yeah, I do have an Etsy. I have like tons of extra fine, okay, like Bernie patches that I had just
nice
back in the OG early 2019 days. That
back in the day.
Yeah, I sometimes get sales from those, like just randomly, like once every month or so. Someone's just ordering a Bernie patch, somehow finding me on Etsy, even though I don't promote that at all.
Memes live forever.
Chat.
Well, anyways, thanks for having me on here. This was awesome. Let me know if you ever need last minute Pixar review.
Oh, of course. As we're going to, what is it, like Becoming Red or something? Or Lightyear, whatever the next one is. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, tell the podcast people if you want me to come back for Becoming Red. By request only.
Of course. Yes, that's the goal. Grift, what about you? What's happening in the shop other than getting banned and all that? Where can people find you?
Grift.shop. We got JJ Demon's album is out. It is fucking fire. And we got official merch for that. So go stream his album. I think it's I listen to it on Spotify, and it's called Ghost Gun Red Menace. So search GGRM in my store, and we got some shirts and hoodies and stuff with the album cover on them. So
hell yeah.
Nice.
Check that out.
I will go check that out after I do this. And so should you.
Yeah, exactly. I am envisioning that like a propaganda poster. It can work out incredibly well. As for the podcast, go ahead and follow us on Twitter at Gigo Podcast, on Letterboxd at Gigo Podcast. Follow us on Spotify, since that is where the winds are blowing. We might have another thing gearing up related to Spotify that I'll announce, I don't know, like 4 months too late after the trend is over. It's fine. Then also, if you're listening to us on iTunes, leave us a review there, and also let us know whether or not you can find us, because once again, Apple has updated their software. The App Store itself still complete dog shit when it comes to trying to find a podcast on Apple Podcasts. So just only hate towards that company once again. Without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead and say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Fuck Apple. All my homies love Spotify. Peace.
Hell yeah. Deuces.